Right, collective. I'm hearing pendulum swing, pendulum swing. I don't know what this means for you. Perhaps you are wavering in a decision. Perhaps you're approaching a point in your life where you're not really sure of the outcome and it feels like it's up to a pendulum swing. It feels almost like a coin toss, except a coin toss generally has two outcomes. And with the pendulum swinging, it has more than two. It has three, four, five. It can go back and forth and go left, right, up, down, diagonal, in a circle, clockwise, counterclockwise. Like it can spell letters, shapes. There's this weird variable in your life right now. Yeah, Spirit's asking you to look deeper into something that's the source of your belonging. You need to see where you're rooted in the ground. You need to go deep within and find what motivates you, find what brings you pleasure, what brings you joy. You can lose sight of these things when you're walking through a desert or a sandstorm, right? So you need to be very careful not to walk through these things, not to go into these experiences without realizing you need to be grounded. Um, but yeah, there's definitely something about you wobbling on the edge of something. I'm hearing like fate or faith. Um, let's see what else I'm getting here. Apophyllite is coming through. Perhaps this is a stone you work with or one that you would benefit working from. You can also look up the metaphysical properties of working with this crystal. And I'm hearing snowstorm, chance, and hell. Um, I think there's an expression that this comes from of like, when the odds of something are really low, it feels like there's a snowstorm's chance in hell, or maybe it's phrased differently. But this feeling of like this once in a lifetime event occurring somewhere that's really unlikely, it's so unlikely. And it changes everyone's view and perspective of reality and what's possible forever. You immerse into this world collective, and I'm getting big chills. You immerse into this world collective and you show others your world. You like to create fantasy worlds. You like to dive deep within. You like to become something you've never become before. You're alive in the feeling of living. You're enthralled with the passion of existence. Sometimes this is taken out of you because of people surrounding you, people's circumstances, victims, villains, roles that people play. But you have to remember, collective, that you're alive. You're alive, and that's a beautiful thing. You are empowered, and you're alive. So many people in your life have tried to tell you you're not really living. So many people in your life have tried to course correct you, to steer your ship into deeper waters, calmer waters, stranger waters, shallower waters. I hear that people sometimes try to beach your ship that you're on. But you need to bring yourself to shore, collective, because you can't be out at sea, kind of wandering in this space of what's going to happen to me, where am I going, what's out there, what's here, what remains, what is gone, what is left, what is right. There's just so many questions. And I'm seeing this pendulum ticking back and forth, almost like tick tock, tick tock. And this pendulum is making up its mind. It's kind of adjusting its barometer right now to something in your life. You're magnetizing this pendulum, almost like there's iron in something you're doing, and as you pour iron into something, it's magnetizing this pendulum to, I'm hearing, appropriate itself to that. Take that how it resonates. This pendulum wants to cling onto something that gives it sureness, that gives it reality, that gives it groundedness. So it's like you're trying to influence the wings of fate or the winds of fate by doing something concrete. But so much about your circumstance can't be expressed concretely. It's a very strange energy that I'm tapping into at this time because it's so nebulous, so superfluous, so changeable, so variable. I think for this collective, there was a message coming through a little while back about shifting sands. So there's this feeling of not being on solid ground, of the ground that you're on changing, taking shape and root in different ways. You're still kind of journeying through this desert, collective. You're still kind of journeying through something that is sort of temporary, but it's hard. It's hard on you to journey through this temporary space because, excuse me, the paths of your existence, the paths that are threading through your existence right now, they weave and they're so interwoven up of other people and other things and surroundings and circumstances that don't really concern you. So you're trying to tap into this energy as something with finality, as something final, but it's not final. It's still being woven. You're still being asked to confront old versions of realities that you've wrestled with. You're still being asked to look more deeply into aspects of yourself that haven't surfaced in a long time. You're still being asked to change ways that are not serving you. You're still being asked for so much at this time, collective, that you have to pay attention to where the road is going. You have to pay attention to what your desires are. Your desires are teaching you something right now, collective, and you can't avoid them. You can't forestall them. You can't forego them. You have to listen to them. I'm hearing your logical mind sometimes plans things for you, but then it doesn't pan out that way you thought it was going to. That's because, collective, you're not meant to live a logical life. You're very intuitive based. You're alive. You're living. You're constantly in stimulus and surrounding, huh? Um, what is surrounding to the feedback? That's so strange. I don't know what that phrase means, but I'm seeing you respond to the feedback and circumstances around you. Um, Survival mode is something you may enter into at times, almost to play in. I'm getting like there may be some of you who adjust your sleep schedule because it feels dangerous and exciting. Um, there's this feeling, and also this feeling of you being wrapped up in something, like you feeling a little defensive about something, but you really like being alive, collective. Like when you get in this mode, when you get in this energy, you channel this feeling of aliveness that is so pervasive and diverse and inclusive and exclusive all at once. It's just really hard for you to narrow in on this expansive energy because life involves so much living. Dying is a part of life, but it's something that we do at the very end and then we have small versions of throughout. I'm hearing there's a countdown, collective. There's a countdown for something in your life right now. There's a quiet stillness that I'm hearing from spirit, and it's like I'm looking over these waves of sand and these dunes, and it's so empty here. It's so desolate and it's so lonely. It's so quiet. You're at this point in your life where you have really receded into the way of your being. You have really come back into yourself because you are trying to center yourself. But again, it's not something you can do concretely. There's just this waviness to the energy and this pendulum that keeps swinging of like, I feel like it's tearing you up a little bit inside, collective. Like it's tearing you apart. How difficult it is to ground. I just happened to open my eyes and I saw 7-Eleven on my timer. So I feel like there are a lot of angels around you at this time, a lot of support from your support systems, from your teams, like your spirit teams, maybe some of you, your work teams, even. Um, there's this feeling of gratitude for all that you've done, collective, because you have done a lot for the world in ways that you don't realize. Just you living your life is such a beacon of hope to other people that are ashamed of living. That's what I'm being told right now, is what Spirit's giving me. You are so unapologetic and so bold and so brash in the way that you choose to live your life now, collective, that it inspires great change in other people. And they don't always know what to do with this because they're afraid, because so many people have told them it's wrong to be alive. It's wrong to enjoy living. It's wrong to eat certain foods. It's wrong to dance at certain parties. It's wrong to take certain substances, we'll say. It's wrong to take certain medications. It's wrong to take certain alcohol. It's wrong to take this, wrong to take that. And there's so many rules, collective. And I'm seeing that you strip down these rules, you strip down these barriers. I'm seeing you at a rave party. Perhaps this is symbolic, perhaps it's something you've done before. But you're just living in this moment of ecstasy, take that how you will. And it's just resonating so deeply within you because you're thriving. You are throbbing in tune with the music and the rhythm and the beat of the jungle and the people and the sweat and the community. And you're alive, collective. You're so alive. There's this absolutely feral side of you that is so wonderful and beautiful that I feel society shames sometimes because I'm seeing this very stiff upper lipped British person in a suit, like very just stiff in their movements, very reserved and but kind of overweight and it just pale and pallid. Like I feel, collective, that you look around sometimes and you feel like you're surrounded by zombies. You feel like you're living in this world that's a simulation because you are, but also because not everyone in the simulation wakes up, which is really sad because, like, collective, you're not thanked for waking up. You do so much for other people, but they're still living on this program that tells them what to do, what to say, where to go, what to be, who to think, who to be like it gives them all these rules, collective, and you operate outside that. And sometimes I see you break people away from the matrix way of thinking. Excuse me. Sometimes you change people's perspectives for life and you never meet those people again. So you don't know the impact your messages had, but trust that your messages have deep and far-reaching impact, collective. You are so beautiful, so wise, so gregarious, so talkative and chatty and buoyant like buoyancy. I hear like flagrant, like a flagrant disregard for rules in this really refreshing way. I'm just so glad you're alive, Collective. I'm so glad you're living. I feel like there may have been times where you weren't, like you were a walking zombie because the world kind of made you that way. Even though you had this light code within you that said to live, to dance, to breathe, to drink, to eat, to enjoy, to have schmecks with other people, like it's everything. Just experience all life has to offer because none of it's bad. If it's bad, why were we created this way? Why did we develop this way? Therefore, it's not bad because if life is good, then all aspects of it are too, right? In a way, if you think of it like that. If people want to be super absolute about it. Now, I say that and I know that there's a lot of gray, there's a lot of nuance, but um, what is the point of believing we're evil? I feel like I'm getting on a soapbox here, Collective. Maybe you feel this way. What's the point of believing we're evil? What's the point of it? What does it benefit us to believe that we're evil? It only dooms us to a catastrophic future that we can't avoid. We can't steer our ship clear of the iceberg. We can't turn into the desert and bury our heads into the sand. Look, what is the point of believing it's all evil and worthless and for nothing? If we could alternatively believe we have choice, we have beauty, we have mesmerizing. Oh, interesting. I see Asmodeus here. Yeah, interesting. This does make a lot of sense. Asmodeus works a lot with the pleasures of life. So maybe you're a collective that works with him or has been considering working with him. Maybe you haven't heard of him before, but he's reached out to you in dreams and you haven't realized it. He has a very dark, seductive energy, but he's also kind of a warlord. He is an infernal king. He has a lot of responsibility. He is one who has to follow a lot of rules, but he also makes a lot of his own rules too. He finds joy and peace in the rebellion of things. He finds consistency in shocking others, in destabilizing expectations. He is a great example of how the world around you can project all sorts of understandings and misunderstandings on you. And if you stand tall and steadfast in your conviction, you're going to find yourself aligning with the right people. You're going to find yourself surrounded by parties that enjoy you, that appreciate you. My gosh, okay, I'm seeing Dionysus too. You are an interesting collective. I'm seeing Dionysus in a party right now. And he's kind of relaxing and he's got wine. He's like eating grapes, kind of classic Dionysus vibes. Um, but he's standing up and walking towards me. Oh my God, I think he wants to channel. Hold on. They spring this on me. Don't give me warning beforehand. I just swear they're rubbing their hands together before I channel sometimes. Like, we gonna get her. Okay, hold on, hold on. Okay, yeah, I think he wants a little message for you, collective. Okay, so I'm gonna pass this over to him. Dear Collective, you have found yourself at times caught up in the world around you. You have found yourself drained of your life, of your joy, of your freedom of expression, of your creativity, your sexual endeavors and encounters and mysteries and grandiosities of life. You have found yourself sucked dry by the vampires of the world, incapable of producing the blood within themselves to sustain themselves. And so they suck it out of you. They suck the very life force you represent right out of your soul. These collective are nightwalkers. These are stalkers. These are villains in disguise. They go around parading their lies and teaching you the ways that you ought to be while secretly coveting all of your secrecy. The world around you, collective, is a dark one, but you help make it brighter. The parties are not evil. The drugs are not evil. The sex is not evil. The sins are not evil. All of these things are painted in a particular light simply because those who desire control know that the freedom of ecstasy, the freedom that ecstasy provides for us, the joy that spreads through our bodies like fire, that is inconsequential to them. They know that if we experience these things, that we can't overthrow the governments, for instance. They know that if we indulge in these things, we will not be a threat to them. And yet, there is a desire collected to control. There's a desire to shame people for these actions and thus create even harder addictions and codependencies and dependencies. Because collective, as you channel more deeply into the energy around you, you will start to realize and recognize the people who attend raves, the people who attend parties, bachelor parties, birthday showers, baby showers, all sorts of events and debaucheries. Often these people are lacking joy in their life. And when you lack joy on a regular basis, you go crazy. when you see a circumstance where you're allowed just a tiny bit of it. These are the people who lose control. These are the people who become a wildfire and burn everything that they touch because they don't have a modicum of decency around them. They don't know how to judge themselves, their behavior, and others' behavior. They don't know how to abstain from excess. They always consume to the point of excess, collective, because they never let themselves consume anyway. So, collective, there's all this darkness that is created around pleasurable activities so that when you do indulge in them, it feels forbidden. It feeds a secret side of your brain that leads you darker into more addictive paths. And this allows them to control you even further when they criminalize certain activities, criminalize certain ways of thinking, certain ways of being, certain ways of growing and experiencing life. They allow a container for you to contain within your sins. But as you contain your sins within this container, they can also contain you, because as you indulge in these natural proclivities that ancient civilizations have utilized for thousands of years, they know that they can cannibalize upon your harshest of fantasies. They know they can destabilize your family units. They know they can rise with the darkness that overtakes this generation in an era of reservedness and harshness and brutality and sensitivities and darkness. They know that they can ride with all of these things and stamp out the joy that life offers. And so they carefully ration away joy. They carefully ration away the things that would bring light and peace and connectivity and love and sensuality and joy and brilliance from people's lives. They ration it away, collective, so you may not have access to it. And the only ways you can access it are by associating with people who some would call the scum of the earth, or associating with systems some would call rebellion, or associating with places some would call evil, desirous, den of temptresses, things like this, collective. Don't be fooled by those who hate living. Those who hate living desire just as deeply as you to feel joy, only they do not allow themselves. So in secret, they partake of many indulgences that are harmful to society at whole, to society at large, because they cannot contain themselves, and their foolish whimsy of control is shattered into oblivion by the harsh hammer of the reality of the universe, which is that everything you repress comes back 10 times harder, because when the soul is denied what it craves, it seeks out a harsher stimulant, collective. It seeks out a harsher reality. The most grounded people you will meet, collective, are those who experience joy regularly, those who enjoy the earth, who ground into reality, who drink, who eat, who smoke, who make merry and happy. These people do all of this in excess in the eyes of those who are heavily restricted, and yet it is all in moderation. It is those who restrict most heavily, who go most indulgently and ferociously and terrifyingly deep into the darkest of addictions and patterns. Be careful, collective, that you don't let your joy of this earth, of this reality, of this timeline and time zone be influenced by the people who would seek to rob you of this joy. Don't listen to people who do their addiction in secret. Behold those who do their addiction in public. Because if an addiction is shown to the public, it is not really an addiction. It is simply a partaking of the experience of joy. True addiction is one that people do in secret. It is one that people feel they must hide away because they understand their attachment to it is unhealthy. Someone who is not a food addict has no shame eating in front of a crowd of people, nor in front of their friend, nor in front of their fiance or partner. But a food addict will have a lot of shame eating around other people and very controlled about the behavior with which they eat, and then often either purge or gorge themselves, respectively, when they're behind closed doors, collective. This is the true difference between indulgence and sensuality, sexuality, perversion, let's say. Some people do these things to excess and it's very harmful. Some people do it to what seems to be excess and it is not harmful. This is the mystery, collective. You live life to the fullest and you do it in a way that you are not ashamed to do it. Therefore, this is not truly an excess to you. This is not an addiction for you. But there are those who feast upon life to excess and to gorge themselves or to famine themselves, alternatively, collective. This is an addictive mindset. The mindset makes all the difference, collective. If you are at peace with yourself, if you are at war with yourself, this makes the difference in the activities you do, in the foods you consume, the company you keep. That is all the difference is. One can go out and party every weekend and have no addiction to substances and truly be able to stop at any time. Yet one who only parties once every few months, nay, perhaps once every few years, Those are the people who truly cause a scene, who truly cause a riot and problems, because one taste of the indulgence brings surging forth the desire and the behavior to be as a crackhead is, to be as a disciplined student is. There's a desire for rebellion, to take back control, to consume and indulge, to gorge, to feast, because we don't know when the next time we'll have the experiences. So, collective, I say all this to say, indulge your fantasies in safe and consensual ways. Enjoy your time on this earth in beautiful and harmonious ways. It is not a sin to eat food. It is not a crime to drink wine. It is no shame to indulge in smoking, whatever sort of vice tickles your fancy, for the good of all and to the harm of none. It is only dangerous, collective, when you do these things in secret and you hide your doing of them from other individuals. For in doing so, you add a coat of shame to this activity, and thus you will start to subconsciously shame others, or worse, publicly shame them. You will help affect laws into place, restrictions into place that police people's behaviors and cause all sorts of deviancy in society, because there is no healthy outlet, collective, for the shame. There is no healthy outlet for people to find joy and experience life when all has contributed shame to its very existence, to its very being. So find within this message, collective, and within yourself, a way to enjoy life without shame. Live boldly, collective. Live openly. Live passionately. Allow your joys to take over and to become one with the future, collective. You paint the most brilliant blue across the sky when you paint the future in your beautiful colors. Don't hold back your shades from the world, collective. So many people need the light that you bring, need the joy that you bring. They need people to dissolve the shadows and illusions this reality casts, criminalizing certain activity, punishing certain behaviors, restricting certain obsessions and appetites until they approach such a gross deformity of what they once were. They're no longer recognizable, and thus they shame them further. Don't allow these wounds to fester within society, collective. Be the voice of reason and compassion. Be the generous spirit who gives to others in the parties, who shares their wisdom with those in the night. Teach others, collective. There is no such thing as shame. There is no such thing as judgment. There is only the way in which we conduct ourselves and the way in which that contrasts with others' behaviors. But, collective, there's no joy to be had in judging others' behaviors, because the more that we judge and shame what others do, the more we judge and shame ourselves, the more we create contingencies and stuck up business ideas that punish others for things that are not their fault. We take away others' joys. We steal the light from their eyes. We steal the fire from within their vision and soul when we silence their wandering hands and their wandering gazes, when we take away the arts, when we shut up the liquor cabinet, when we put away the cigars. All of these things, collective, teach us to shame our indulgences. This programming goes deep within society, collective, and it extends to things far more monotonous than this. Simply watching a television show, for instance, which some people aspire to be actors, they aspire to create and inspire joy in others. Watching television show becomes corrupted, and therefore everyone who tunes into the frequency of this show then enjoys the experience of corruption. I say enjoy sarcastically. Everything that layers on shame and judgment and dissolving, collective, into these joys harms us as a society. We have to be at peace with our indulgences. We have to make peace with the way we find joy. There is no shame in being an artist, collective. There's no shame in being a poet. There's no shame in being a virgin or a whore. There's no shame in any of these things, collective. There's only the shame that other people have brought on us by their own judgments within themselves. If everyone found peace within themselves to give themselves permission to enjoy life, they wouldn't have a desire to judge others, collective, because they would say, what need have I to judge you? I don't judge myself. But, collective, our desire to make things fair and right and just means that we must judge others when we judge ourselves, because we cannot hold two different standards without being in contradiction, without feeling like a hypocrite. So we know that if we judge ourselves, we must also harshly judge others. And therefore, intuitively, if we judge others, we must also judge ourselves. I leave you now with this parting wisdom, collective. To indulge your fantasies is not evil. To take hold of your desires and to pass them on to the place of belonging is not wrong. To reach with others at the point of ecstasy in the rave, to dance at the parties all night long till the sun comes up. This is not your undoing. This is your becoming. So many, collective, wage war across the galaxy, seeking to conquer systems they've never been to touch races they've never interacted with. So many people look at another's cultures and they covet it because it represents all the evil sins they will not allow themselves to partake in. They feel they must punish these other societies, collective. They feel they must steal their joy because they have none. Don't become someone so repressed, collective, that you start to think yourself better or morally superior. You are not morally superior for cutting out your humanity. And yet I think, collective, many people have told you you would be better off if you lived less. But I want you to live more. I want you to live freely and dangerously in the way that everyone says is wrong for you, because, collective, your soul knows what is right for you. What is medicine for one is poison for another. Yet what is poison for one is medicine to another. You must recognize, collective, your treatment now comes from unconventional methods. You have to exercise tribute to your belonging. You have to understand the nucleus of your being, collective, is being formed as we speak. You have to understand, collective, you are being reformed and reshaped in a time where you are allowed to reinvent yourself, to reinvent the wheel of your being and existence. You are being given a special chance, collective, to rewrite everything your destiny has ever shown you, has ever told you before. And if you don't take it, collective, you will settle into your old patterns, and all of the junk that swims in the very lake of your being will freeze over for all of winter. And who knows if spring or summer will come again for you if you decide to be so shut up and stuck away and cold and indifferent to your desires. Collective, now is the time to fish out the trash in your lake before it freezes over. Now is the time to purge the bad habits you've had of restriction. Now is the time to recognize that true evil is hating yourself. To truly love oneself is the purest form of good, because when we truly love ourselves, there is no need to harm others and to do damage unto others. We only desire for others to love themselves as well. People don't want you to know this, collective, because your fear is far more profitable. Your excitement is dangerous, collective. When you're excited, you hope. When you are motivated, you change. You change worlds, collective. People don't want you to know that. People don't want you to share this message because it harms people who are in power. It damages people who benefit from a broken system. One party in the middle of the night will not end a society. But you know what does? Drugs that are criminalized to the point of those who need them seeking them out, paying exorbitant rates, and then dying because they were polluted with something else entirely. Collective, there's so much wrong with this system, and you know that there is. You know your joy of living is not wrong. You know it's not evil. You know society has painted you to be this villain that you're not. So, collective, you must stand strong at this point of your becoming. You are ready to unlearn everything the society has ever taught you was evil and was contrary to your very nature of being. You are regressing, collective, to a state of childlike wonder and innocence. You bring forth colors from your imagination this world has never seen. You bring forth flowers in beautiful matrimony and harmony. You save civilizations, collective, with your awe and respect of their practices, your genuine love and appreciation for the kindness and compassion of human life, collective. It changes worlds. It changes destinies. All it takes, collective, sometimes is one person taking a chance on the right person at the right place at the right time. You are someone, collective, who someone took a chance on once, and it changed everything for you. Never forget that experience. You grew from it. You learned from it. You've grown from it, and you know from it. It changed everything, collective. Never forget that defining moment. So many people in this lifetime, they don't have defining moments. Do you know why? They live in a sea of monotony. They never celebrate anything. Life is endless drudgery and toil and pain of existence. They live in a hell on earth because they can't imagine it differently, collective. They live with pain inside their soul because nothing else speaks to them in truth. Collective, you are not meant to censor yourself. You are meant to live boldly and passionately. You are meant to inspire others, to lead a revolution, an uprising of individual thinking, collective. You are not meant to be profitable. You are not meant to be a workforce or a workhorse. You are meant to enjoy living, collective. So many mountains move in the shape of joy and ecstasy, far more than pain and suffering. Collective, don't let this world dampen your spirit. Don't let it dampen your vision. Don't let it darken your doorstep with its threat of becoming and unbecoming. Don't let the illusions of what society tells you shatter the truth that you hold crystalline and deep within your heart. You know you are built for more, collective. You know you are entitled to more. You deserve more. It's not evil, it's not bad, it's not sinful, it's not wrong. The society wants you to think that way because they think that way, because they've never challenged the thinking that way, because it is profitable for them for you to think that way. Everyone is pawns in a system, collective. Everyone dances to the beat of another monkey's drum. Who do you dance for, collective? Who do you dance to?